Hare Krishna. We continue reading from teachings of Queen Kunti. We are on prayer 13, which is the vital force of the universe. It's in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.30. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work, though you are inactive, and that you take birth, though you are the vital force and the unborn. You yourself descend among animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. We have been reading the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and we will continue to read it. Of course, human life does not actually begin until there is some conception of religion, dharma. But in the present age, Kali Yuga, dharma is practically nil. There is no religion or morality, and there are no pious activities. And therefore, according to Vedic calculations, the present human civilization does not even consist of human beings. Formerly, people would care about morality and immorality, religion and irreligion. But with the progress of Kali Yuga, this is all being vanquished, and people can do anything without caring what it is. Srimad Bhagavatam says, and we can actually see that in Kali Yuga, about 80% of the people are sinful. Illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling are the 4 pillars of sinful life. And therefore, we request that one first break these 4 pillars so that the roof of sinful life will collapse. Then, by chanting Hare Krishna, one can remain established in a transcendental position. It is a very simple method. So Bhagavatam says that human life does not even begin until the time we begin to inquire, who am I? Otherwise, Bhagavatam calls us two-legged animals. And Bhagavatam says animals are eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And you also in a human body, you're eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So what's the difference then? Or you're just doing it in a polished way. But then that's not the reason you have been given the human body. So human life begins with that inquiry, who am I? But that is going to come only when we don't engage in sinful activities. Sinful activities. The Vedic scriptures, they tell us that these are sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. And the Vedic scriptures tell us that we should not indulge in these activities. And so, because every activity has a reaction. So then these activities have very, very sinful reactions. So for our benefit, the Vedas are telling us, don't indulge in these. And then Prabhupada is saying that the very easy way we can be established in our transcendental position, come on the platform of liberation very easily. How? Don't indulge in these 4 sinful activities and chant Hare Krishna. And he says it's a very simple method. One cannot realize God if one's life is sinful. Therefore, Krishna says, Yesham tva antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante ma dridvrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. Bhagavad Gita 7.28. The word antagatam means finished. One can engage in devotional service if one has finished with his sinful life. Who can finish with sinful life? Those who engage in pious activities. One must have activities, and if one engages in pious activities, one's sinful activities will naturally vanish. On one side, one should voluntarily try to break the pillars of sinful life, and on another side, one must engage himself in pious life. So we are always acting, always we are acting. So it's our choice. What are we acting at? So the proposal is, don't act in this sinful way, act in a pious way. So if we are not acting sinful, automatically we are trying to act pious. If one has no pious engagement, it is not that one can become free from sinful activities simply by theoretical understanding. For example, the American government is spending millions of dollars to stop the use of LSD and other such intoxicants, but the government has failed. How is it that simply by passing laws or giving lectures, one can make people give up these things? It is not possible. One must give people good engagements, and then they will automatically give up the bad ones. For example, we instruct our students, no intoxication, and they immediately give it up, even though the government has failed to stop them. This is practical. Because if we artificially try to just not do sinful activity, but we have to do something. We have to do something. So we are saying, okay, don't do sinful activity. But then what do I do? Then you do pious activity. That's what the proposal is. Param drishtva nivartate. If someone isn't given good engagement, his bad engagements cannot be stopped. That is not possible. Therefore, we have two sides, prohibition of sinful activities and engagement in good activities. We don't simply say no illicit sex, no intoxication, and so on. Mere negativity has no meaning. There must be something positive because everyone wants engagement. That is because we are living entities, not dead stones. So, although we are not the body, but we have to understand we are inside the body. And because we are inside the body, we will continue to act in some way or the other. So the proposal is, don't engage in sinful activities, but you engage in the proper activities, and activities of Krishna consciousness. By meditation, the impersonalist philosophers try to become dead stones. Let me think of something void or impersonal. But how can one artificially make oneself void? The heart and mind are full of activities. So these artificial methods will not help human society. So we have to understand, when we say that I am conscious, it's not that the body is conscious. It is I, the living entity, the soul, that is conscious. Because once we leave the body, we can see the body is dead. So the body is always dead. Even though right now we are inside the body, this body is dead. It just appears to be alive because I am inside this body. And that is what we have to understand. So it's not that, okay, right now I'm alive, but just if I meditate, I am going to become nothing. How? How is that going to be? Then that means I'm thinking I'm the body, or I'm thinking I'm the mind. Does that make sense? It's the I. The I is the soul. So we cannot make the soul zero at any time, because I always exists. The I is not the body. The I is the consciousness, it's the soul. And it's not that just because I am right now inside the body that I am existing. Then that means I'm thinking I'm the body. And that once I give up the body, once I'm liberated, I will not exist anymore. But then that means I'm thinking I'm the body. It's not that. I am the soul. I am a living entity. I just have to be situated in my original position, who I truly am. When we are saying original position, it does not mean in this material world. Original position in the spiritual world. Methods of so-called yoga and meditation are all rascaldom because they provide no engagement. But in Krishna consciousness, there is adequate engagement for everyone. Everyone rises early in the morning to offer worship to the deities. The devotees prepare nice food for Krishna. They decorate the temple, make garlands, go out chanting, and sell books. They're fully engaged 24 hours a day, and therefore they are able to give up sinful life. If a child has in his hand something that he's eating, but we give him something better, he will throw away the inferior thing and take the better thing. So if a child is eating something, dirt, and we force the child, give it up, the child will cry. And again, he'll do something else, But if we give the child something really nice, he will be happy. He will not want the bad thing. So in Krishna consciousness, we offer better engagement, better life, better philosophy, better consciousness, everything better. Therefore, those who engage in devotional service can give up sinful activities and promote themselves to Krishna consciousness. Activities intended to promote all living entities to Krishna consciousness are going on not only in human society, but even in animal society also. Because all living entities here are part and parcel of Krishna, but are rotting in this material world. Krishna has a plan, a big plan to deliver them. Sometimes he comes to this world personally, and sometimes he sends his very confidential devotees. Sometimes he leaves instructions like those of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's incarnation appears everywhere, and he appears among animals, men, sages, and even aquatics. Tirya Nirshishu Yadasu. For example, Krishna even appeared as a fish incarnation. So it's not that only the human beings are living entities and that only the human beings are parts and parcel of Krishna. No, each and every living entity, whether they are in the body of a bird or a body of a fish or body of a tree, body of an animal or body of a human being, each is a living entity. Each is a part and parcel of Krishna. And what does Krishna want? He wants us all to go back home to the spiritual world. He does not want us to remain rotting in this material world. And how does he do that? He sometimes comes himself personally to speak, give us instructions in Bhagavad Gita. He tells us about how to act when we are inside this body and how we can make this last life. He gives these instructions. He comes himself, or he comes as his incarnation, or he sends his bona fide representatives. So we'll stop here for today. And his instruction for this age of Kali for us is hear and chant, hearing and chanting. That's what it is. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening in and joining in. I'm not sure if there are any comments. Okay. So thank you. Srimati Kunti Devi ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.